ओम आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलम् इन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मा ते मयि सन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति. We are studying Kenopanishad of the Samaveda, and today we are going to end our reading of the Kenopanishad. We have already read 7 mantras of the 4th section, and only mantras 8 and 9 remain. Now in the 7th mantra bhashya we had found that why this prashna and answer, that the disciple says, please tell the Upanishad. And the Guru says, I have told you the Upanishad. I have told you the Upanishad about Brahman itself. So what is the meaning of this question and this answer? Meaning of the question is that it is not very clear to the duller in intellect that everything has been told, because he has not been able to feel it. And so far as the Guru is concerned, the Shishya feels why he has not told like Pipalada, that Nata Paramasti, there is nothing beyond that. So he has not concluded conclusively that is what he feels. On the other hand, Guru says that it is not necessary that everybody should speak like Pipalada. In the second mantra itself, I had told the fruit. So that is the conclusion. And then after that story, Upasana was told, and again the fruit was told there. So when the fruit has been told, does it not mean it is conclusive? Now that is one thing. Secondly, what is the purpose of this question and answer? Something seems to remain which the Guru has not yet told. But the question is that remaining should not be taken as a part of Brahma Vidya or as auxiliary means to be used along with Brahma Vidya. Because the nature of Brahma Vidya is such that it obliterates the difference between the doer and his actions. And what is remaining is some doer, something to be done. And so it is not at all a part of the Upanishads. Nor is it absolutely necessary when Brahma Vidya dawns in the mind. When Brahma Vidya dawns in the mind, it takes care of itself and makes you reach the goal. It does not require the help of anything as part or as auxiliary means. Then what is the meaning? The next thing is, then what is the meaning? The meaning is that a very important portion of our life, which is usually not dealt with by Upanishads at all. Upanishads generally presuppose that we have become purified by doing our karma. If not in this life, then in the past life we must have been doing karma and we are pure. And that was made clear in the very preface, introduction to Kenopanishad by Shankaracharya. There he says, this is a person who has lost a total interest in outside world, anything in the outside world. And because he has lost interest in anything in the outside world, so he has turned inwards. And this is the sadhak who has already turned inwards in search of his own reality. And what the Guru did here was to push him further inside. That was the only thing which he did in the second mantra. Shrotrasya Shrotra Manasa Mano. So the disciple had already felt that though there is something I, the Indriyas and mind are Achetan, that also he had felt. And Achetan cannot act by themselves, that he knows. And I have not directed Achetans, that is by introspection, he has already seen that. So this is the position of the Shishya, and for such a Shishya, the main part of the Upanishad was told. And what was told? The Guru had pushed him further inside. Inside and outside from the body point of view. Inside really means nearer to your own real nature. That is inside. Anything away from your real nature is outside. So giving up that outside, Shishya had already turned inside, nearer to the reality, and Guru wanted him to go very near the reality. And the only obstruction in his mind was that when he reached Aham Brahmasmi, he felt it is ultimate. And there the Guru told him, you have to think a little. If you feel you have fully known Brahman, then I tell you, you have known Brahman a little. And so you have to think. And the Shishya has that capacity. He went aside and thought, revised his thinking, and with the what Guru had told, that it is different from the known, more than unknown. So he had found the meaning that I and that Brahman are not different. That is what the Guru is telling. And so he had reached Aham Brahmasmi, which was a rare thing. And there were disciples of the same category. I am revising. Again, I am not going to revise. So this was the position in the first chapter. He understood that this is penultimate realization of the truth, not the ultimate. There ended the first chapter. Now, what one experiences in the ultimate can never be spoken by the mouth at all, because it is not dual at all. So the question came, so he said that, like me, those who think they know, they do not know fully. And they will know fully only when they will not think I am doing. That means he has understood that in the final realization, this I will not remain. But a man on the street will also say, I do not know. So how do we know the difference between the two? And that is told in the second chapter by the great statement, Pratibodha viditam matam, amrutatvam hi vindate, atmana vindate viryam vidyaya amrutam ashnute. So though what is experienced in the ultimate experience cannot be described, but the resultant can surely be described. And that is in every vibration of consciousness, whether it is perception or conjecture or like simile or anything which is a vibration of consciousness. The realized person knows that Brahman alone is the knower, Brahman alone is the object which he knows, Brahman alone is the type of knowing which is happening. So that is final. The effect of final is something permanent in life. And that is this effect, which Sri Ramakrishna calls as Bodhe Bodhe Brahma Bodh. In every vibration of Bodh, there is the awareness of Brahman, both as the subject and the object, and the type of experience also. And it is final because it gives you the Amrutatvam. And we have every time discussed that this Amrutatvam means not only immortality, but permanent, unalloyed bliss. So that is what you are getting. And how do we get the strength to obliterate this I? That strength comes from your own real nature. Atmana vindate viryam. And the culture of this consciousness called Vidya will give you Amrutatvam. So, means, goal, everything has been described there. And we were told that if you have that, your life has a meaning. Otherwise, it is a meaningless life, vegetating life. And that is how the second chapter was concluded. In the third and the tale having reached the fourth, we were given a story, an anecdote of how it was the supreme God who won the war for gods against asuras, and how in that the gods felt that it was their victory, it was their glory, and so that this ahankara should not turn them into asuras, Brahman, out of compassion for them, because they are the friends of the world, appeared in a strange form in front of them. And that was the first shock to them, because they thought they know everything and they could not know who he is. So they sent Agni because he is all-knower, and after his failure, they sent wind god because he goes everywhere, and both of them failed, who have been taught there that all the powers of them were nothing but the powers of Brahman. He had lent them for use, but they wrongly thought it is their power. And when both of them failed, the king Indra had to go, and it did not talk with Indra. As Indra reached, it disappears. But Indra was not like them, he did not give up. He was filled with devotion for that unknown reality. And so he stood there thinking of that reality, and knowing his devotion to that reality, a lady appeared there. And seeing that lady, he became assured because he felt it is his mother. And we already found that spiritual history has repeated, as Sri Ramakrishna talks about Holy Mother, that she is my Shakti, she is Sarada, she has come to give knowledge. So same thing happened. And because of that, from her words only from Guru, Indra knew, though he was such a high devata. So any man high in life will know the truth only with the help of one who has known it already. This corroborates what the Mundaka Upanishad says, that you may know the scriptures, but you should not try to know Brahman independently, without the Guru's help. And that we found Indra became great because he first knew him. Agni and Vayu became greater than other gods because they knew from Indra, and other gods knew afterwards. This was the story. And we were told that one of the reasons for this story is that some upasanas will be two reasons mainly. One is that even the greatest thinker should not think that it is not existing because it cannot be known. It is very much existing. Not only very much existing, but it is the ruler of the whole world. So this transcendent, immanent nature is the first meaning of that story. That the reality which is beyond everything is the cause of God's victory over Asuras. It is His glory. Everybody's power is His power. He is all-knowing. He is all-powerful. That is the first meaning of this story. And the second is that with the help of that story, some upasanas will be told. And this means there are disciples of various grades in that ashram of the Guru. Upasana is a mental affair. And people, difficult to go beyond the mind. So let them be trained by upasanas, and then they can go beyond the mind. Upasanas are primarily meant for gaining concentration. And this concentration is absolutely necessary even while we are changing our consciousness. So Upasanas was told, both cosmic and individual. Reality was told to be changed in two ways, reality of the world, reality of individuals. And a name was also provided, as generally this japa goes along with meditation. And so, after this, some other disciples said that you have not told us the Upanishad, which means that they have not risen beyond sthul karma, the gross karma. So they feel that you have never told the secret of what we should do. And there this conversation took place that the Guru said, I have already told you Upanishad regarding Brahman, not any other Upanishad. To tell that what I have told, both the knowledge and the upasana, that is more than sufficient to know Brahman. It will not require anything. Upasanas may be required to make the mind concentrated, but no gross activity is necessary, no gross activity is allowed in the knowledge of Brahman. So what remains is that you are not pure enough, and so you have not been able to do upasana, or you are not able to change your consciousness, you have not found your own consciousness at all. So first you have to find you are a jiva. You are a reflected consciousness dealing with objects of this world, which is another reflection of the reality. So for feeling this, you require sufficient purification, and that you do not have. So this is the background of what is being told in the 8th and 9th mantra. So now we read the 8th mantra. So we have summarized full Upanishad chapter by now. Now what remains is the means of attaining purification. So We read the 8th mantra. Tasyai tapo dama karma iti pratishtha. Vedaha sarvangani satyam ayatanam. Tapa. Some people are interested to know what is tapa. They should read the description of tapas given in the 17th chapter of the Gita. I need not repeat it here. Sharirik, Manasik and Vachik tapasyas are described there. You please refer to that. Tapasya in general means love of austerity, not nonsensical activity, not nonsensical hardship, austerity, but that the concentration of the indriyas and mind is the real tapasya. So, you do whatever will concentrate your mind, concentrate your indriyas towards finding the reality. So that tapa is pratishtha. Pratishtha means on which the Brahma Vidya stands, which is the receptacle for Brahma Vidya. But that is not the only tapasya, only receptacle. Damaha. This Dhamma includes all types of self-control. All types of self-control is this Dhamma. Unless a man has practiced self-control along with repetition of the main means of knowledge and repetition of the effort of self-control, he cannot proceed towards the change of consciousness, nor can he proceed in the mental upasanas. And the root, the base is karma. It is the activity, how to do it, etc. That is not business of the Upanishads. You have to learn from Gita or other sources. So karma means, Shankar's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita will tell us that any activity done with surrender to God, with devotion to God, of which the fruit is always given to God, such karma will purify your mind, and then tapadama and karma will become that receptacle where Brahma Vidya will be born, and you can remain steady in the progress of that, and you can reach Brahman also. Once that Brahma Vidya is born, all these things will not be necessary, or they will become spontaneous in your life. And also, Vedas means the study of the Karmakandatmak Veda also, because that has given you the means of purification. And Sarvangani, that means there are 6 angas, Vedangas, which are meant for understanding the meaning of Vedas. So that is why they are called Vedangas. All this is pratishtha. It has other meaning also. Tasai tapodama karma iti pratishtha. Vedaha sarvangani. Vedas are study or performance of karma kanda is all other limbs. Pratishtha is like feet. Then all other limbs constituted by the study of the Vedas and performance of karma, which will lead to purification. And main thing is told last, Satyam Ayatanam. Ayatanam is that pot in which Brahmavidya remains. Now, in this Tapodama Karma Veda Sarvangani, Satyam is included. But it is told separately because of its supreme importance in the matter of Brahmavidya. This we clearly learn from Sri Ramakrishna, who out of love for the ultimate reality gave up virtue and vice. Every dual thing he gave up, but he could not utter that I have given you the truth. So truth and various incidents in Sri Ramakrishna's life are testimony to the fact that this truth is not only vocal truth, but as Shankar will tell us here, vocal, mental, in matters of speech. Truth means truthfulness, honesty, non-crookedness. That truth which is observed by body, mind and speech, that's such a truth. When one sticks to such a truth, then only he can hope to get the Brahmavidya born in him, otherwise not. And so the Satya has been separately emphasized. Now let us see what Shankar has to say about it. Yam imam brahmim upanishadam tava agre brahmamiti, about which I told, Guru is telling beforehand that I have already told you the Upanishad regarding Brahma, tasyai, of that. The first word is tasyai. Tasyai means of the Brahma Vidya which I have already told you. Brahmim Upanishadam. What I already told you, the secret of Brahma Vidya. Tasyai. That means Tasya Uktaya Upanishada. Of the Prapti Upaya Bhutani. So, meaning is that of the Upanishad which I have told you, to get that Upanishad, to get that knowledge born in you, Upaya Bhutani, the means are Tapa Adini, whatever is told in this mantra. Tapa means Kayendriya Manasam Samadhanam. So Shankara has given in short what is tapasya. Body, organs and mind should settle down. Samadhanam. Should settle down. They should be properly kept. They should be all directed towards the search for reality. That is Samadhanam. Dhamma Upashama. Dhamma here means control of everything in the personality. Karma Agnihotradi. Shankar says karma means spiritual karma as told by the Vedas or by the Gurus, including Sri Ramakrishna told Shiva Gyane Jiv Seva, and Swami Vivekananda told all of us that is the supreme karma which will easily give you purification. Etairhi Sanskritasya, one who is purified by these, Sattva Shuddhi Dwara, by the purification of his substance or mind, Tattva Jnana Utpattir Drishta. We have seen that in such a mind, the knowledge of the real nature of things arises, is born. Drishta hi amrudita kalmashasya ukte api brahmani apratipatti viparita pratipattisya yatha indra virochana pravritti nam. We have also seen the negative side also, that amrudita kalmashasya, whose impurities have not been rooted out. Uktepi Brahmani, though the Guru tells him about Brahman, apratipatti, does not understand. Viparita pratipatti, and sometimes he understands reverse of what the Guru has told. For example, yatha indra virochana pravritti nam. This refers to a story in the Chandogya as well as Brihadaranyaka, that Prajapati had given a declaration that what I will give, by which your life will be fulfilled. You will be filled with bliss. So, gods become attracted, asuras become attracted, and the king of gods, Indra, and the king of asuras, Virochana, they went to Prajapati as representing their own group. And first they stayed with Prajapati for 32 years. Then only Prajapati said, talk to me. And when Prajapati told them that which is in your right eye, that is your real nature, they could not understand. Virochana understood just opposite of what Prajapati said. He thought Prajapati is telling body is everything, keep the body proper, decorate the body. And so this is just a reverse of what Prajapati had told. And Indra could not fully understand what Prajapati had told. So he thought that in the body there is something like body, double. And those who are interested in the world religion or ideas, this is what the Egyptians and Babylonians felt, and that is why they made those pyramids. The idea of a self totally independent of the body was born only in this Aryan race. So, Indra thought like that. But then, even before going back, on the way, he felt that does not satisfy me. It will not give me permanent bliss. So he went back and asked. Prajapati said, I have already told you. So he thought that he is telling the mind as God. But while going back, he understood that mind waxes and wanes, so that cannot be the meaning of Prajapati. So he went back. After 32 years, he stayed with Prajapati. And then Prajapati said, I already told you. So he thought this I consciousness, which is a reflection, is surely what Prajapati meant. Now this time, like the Sadakindika Upanishad, little impurity has remained. And so he lived there for 5 more years. 32 preliminary, 32 double idea, 32 mind, and I 5 years. And 101 years Indra had to remain with Prajapati. And finally, what he came to know, what was told by Prajapati in the first meeting. So, through this story, Prabhutinam and others like them, Acharya is telling us that Brahman is thought of opposite nature or not understood clearly. Therefore, tasmad ihava atiteshu, in this life or in some past life, bahushu janmantareshu, many past lives, tapa adivi kruta sattva shuddhe, tapa etc., done for purification of personality or mind, jnanam samutpaddate, the jnana is born, yathashrutam. Jnana has been already heard, is born at that time. And Shankar here points out a supreme truth. People should read Shankar Bhashya without leaving anything. Yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathitahi artha prakashante mahatmana. This is the last mantra of the Shata Upanishad. That one who has supreme devotion to God and same supreme devotion to his teacher, in them only and with those big heart, then only these words will, the meaning of the words will shine in them. That means they will become experience for them only. So the supreme place of two things is told here. The broadness of the heart and devotion, love for God. And that is what Sri Ramakrishna tells us in every page of the Gospel. Love for God, love for God, love for God is sometimes he says it is the aim of life. Sometimes though he says that the aim of life is God realization. So he means that if you get this, then you will get that also. So the supreme value of devotion, Shankara is quoting here, though not obvious otherwise, to show its importance. Iti mantra varna, that means in the Shata Upanishad belonging to the Samhita portion. Jnanam utpaddate punsam kshayat papasya karmana iti smrutescha, and Mahabharata is what Shankar says is also a moksha shastra, though it is a smruti grantha. Smruti grantha means keeping in mind the truths realized by the rishis. A lot of thinking is done how to conduct life. That is called the smruti. So this Mahabharata in the Shanti Parva has told that when sinful tendencies are exhausted, then the jnana is born. Now, in the mantra, tasya tapo dama karma iti pratishtha. So, tapo dama karma has been told. Iti means this much. No. Iti shabda upalakshanatva pradarshanartha. So, iti normally means this much. But Acharya says here, iti means many more things represented by these three. Upalakshanartha. How iti evam adi anyadapi jnanotpatte rupakarakatvam. This and other means also which are useful for the jnana being born. Amanitvam adambitvam ityadi upadarshitam bhavati. So in the Gita, in the 13th chapter, shloka 7 to 11, 20 mental, psychological characteristics are told, and Bhagavan says this is jnana. Shankar says these are the auxiliary means told there. Useful for jnana, being born. That is the meaning there. That if you have this, then jnana will come to you. So next word is pratishtha. Pratishtha, padau. Pratishtha means feet. Padau iva asya. They are like the feet of this. Teshu isatsu pratitishthati brahma vidya means pravartate. When the feet are there, then the brahma vidya stands, means brahma vidya proceeds. Pravartate. Padvyamiva purusha. When feet are there, man walks. So, pratishtha means these being there, the Brahma Vidya starts. Vedas chatvara. Vedas are the 4 books. Sarvani cha angani shikshadini. So 6 angas of Vedas. Shat karma jnana prakashakatvad vedanam tad rakshanarthatvad anganam pratishtatvam. So, Vedas, including Vedanta, reveal work and knowledge both, and the 6 angas, shiksha means science of pronunciation, and others, karma jnana prakashakatvad vedanam tad rakshanarthatvad anganam. And to protect those Vedas means to actually be able to practice those Vedas, understand those Vedas. Because of them, Veda and Angas also are feet, pratishtatvam. Athava, the other meaning of this is pratishtha shabdasya padarupa kalpanarthatvat. So pratishtha means feet. Vedastu itarani sarvangani. So here you have to add itarani. Vedas and Anga, no. Vedas are other parts of the body. Shir adini, like head, etc. Asmin pakshe, when this meaning is taken, shikshadinam veda granineva granam kritam pratyatavyam. So one will ask, what about the Vedangas? So when Vedas are told, Vedangas are included in this meaning. Pratyatavyam, that is how one should understand. Angini gruhite, angani gruhitani eva bhavanti, tadayattattvat anganam. Angi means the thing of which they are the parts. So if the thing of which they are the parts are taken, then parts also are taken. Because it is the parts which are ayattattvat, included in that body. Satyam ayatanam, yatra tishtati Upanishad tad ayatanam. Now where the Upanishads are firmly standing, steady, that is ayatana. Satyamiti amaya. Now what is Satya? Amayita. Not outside one and inside one, that is Mayita. Akautilyam, non-crookedness. Vangmana kayanam, of body, speech and mind. Teshu yashrayetu vidya. Because knowledge takes resort of them. Ye amaya vina, those who are bhavirgara shuddhi, those who do not show something outside and something inside. Sadhava, good people, na asura prakritisho mayavisho, not like the asura savav, which is always deceitful. Na yeshu jivam anrutam na maya cha. In the Prashnopanishad, it is told, jivam means kapata buddhi, maya, all inside outside different, in which it is not there, iti shrute, tasmat satyam ayatanam iti kalpete. So this type of truth is imagined as the where Upanishad stand. Tapadishu eva pratishthatvena praptasya satyasya punarayatanatven. No, pratishtha and ayatan, there is not much difference. So when tapodama sama already was told, then again satya is told. Satyasya punarayatanattvena grahanam sadhanaatishayatva jnapanartham. Sadhana atishayatva jnapanartham. So to make us aware that is the supreme sadhana. Ashwamedha sahasram cha satyam cha tulaya dhrutam. Ashwamedha sahasrat cha satyamekam vishishyate Vishnu smruti iti smruti. So Shankaracharya has brought from Vishnu smruti that Ashwamedha is taken to be the highest punya karma. And thousands of Ashwamedhas and truthfulness are put in the two pans of the balance. And we find that thousands of Ashwamedha are superseded by Satya. That is Vishnu Smriti. So such is the importance of Satya, Vachik, Kayik and Manasik. So we have finished the 8th mantra. Yo va etam evam veda apahatya papmanam anante swarge loke jaye pratitishthati pratitishthati. Yo va, whosoever, etam evam veda. Etam means the Upanishad. So from the beginning up to this included, not only of this 8th mantra. From the beginning to this included Veda, one who knows apahatya papman, because it includes upasana and karma. So again, Phalashruti is to be told. But that eulogy is such that it represents the full moksha itself. Apahatya papmanam, totally going beyond any sinfulness, where the virtue is also called sin, because compared to the absolute truth, this ahankar also is sin. Anante swarge loke. Swarga means suvarga, good place. Loka, what one experiences. Anante. Because of this word, ananta, no swarga can be infinite, unending, as some Mimamsakas say, but anante visheshan means the best unending, which is moksha. Swarge loke, again one word is jaya, superior, infinite, unending and superior. Swarga means that it is not ordinary Sarga. It is neither Devaloka. It is the realization of Brahman, which is immortality and bliss. Pratitishthati. He becomes established in that. Pratitishthati, repetition is to tell us end of the Upanishad. Shankar says, Yo vai etam brahma vidyam keneshitam ityadina yathoktam. So, etam means Brahma Vidya, told from Keneshita, right from the beginning. Eva Mahabhagam. Mahabhaga means great fortune, this Kenopanishad. Brahma Devebhyo Ityadina Stutam, which was praised, effectivity was shown through that story. Sarva Vidya Pratishtham, which is the base of all knowledges. This is a reference to Mundaka Upanishad. Amrutatami Vindate iti uktam api, though the result was shown already, that he gets Amrutattva. Brahma Vidya Phalam Ante Nigamayati. So at the end, conclusively, Nigam means conclusion. So at the end, conclusively, the result of Brahma Vidya is told. Apahatya Papmanam Avidya Kama Karma Lakshanam Sansara Bijam Vidhuya. So Apahatya Papmanam means avidya, ignorance, desire, karma are the characteristics of the seed of samsara, transmigration, that is papmanam. Viduya, washed off. Anante, aparyante. Anante means aparyante, where the limits are not there. Paryanta means up to this. Aparyante means not up to this. So limitless. Swarge loke, sukhatmake. Swarge loke means happiness. Brahmani iti etat, meaning is in Brahman itself. Ananta iti visheshanat na trivishtape. So when Ananta is told, it is not the normal Swarga called Trivishtapa. Ananta Shabda Upacharikopi Syadityataha. But you may say it may be a formal statement of infinity. Jaya iti. So superior also has been added there. Jaya Nyayasi Sarva. Jaya means Gyayasi, superior, Sarva Mahattare, greater than everything else. Swatmani, in oneself. Mukhya eva, the main happy place. Pratitishthati. Means na punara sansaram apadyati iti abhipraya. So pratitishthati means he does not come back to this transmigratory world. So we have been able to summarize and conclude Kenopanishad today. And as I told on last occasion also, from next Wednesday we will commence Chandogya Upanishad of the same Samaveda. Though it is called Brahmana, Kenopanishad also Brahmana, but it appears to be one of the oldest Upanishads. And what is told in the Kenopanishad in short, we shall find in great detail in the Chandogya Upanishad. There we shall meet with all karma, upasana and jnana and everything. So, from next Wednesday, 3rd July, we shall be having Chandogya Upanishad, please. People will ask me what you are going to read. I will tell them, first we will read Shankar's introduction to the all Upanishad. Then we shall see what is to be taken. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranaschakshushrotramatho Balam Indriyani cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirate Upanishadsu Dharma Te Mai Santu Te Mai Santu Om Shanti 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 Hare Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.